Flynn will shoot it. Morrow will rebound it. And Don Nelson stands alone. No man that has stalked the NBA sidelines has ever won 1,333 games until tonight.
I told those guys in the huddle that I loved them to death, but sometimes they're a pain in the ass to coach. But most of the time they give me everything they got, and I love them to death.
We believe in you, Coach.
Yes, we do.
Yep. That's for you, Coach. Yep.
So the old adage goes, they don't make men like that anymore. But they didn't make men like Don Nelson before him either. And Nelson, one of the league's most colorful personalities, he passed away on Sunday at the age of 86. It was a life well lived. His Hall of Fame career, it spanned 42 years as a player and a coach in the association. He racked up 5 championships as a player with Boston, plus over 1,300 wins as a head coach. But numbers, right? They can't really measure Nelson's impact on the modern game. Of course, he invented Nelly Ball, a fast-paced, positionless style that redefined basketball as all of us know it. He was a maverick in every sense of the word, and it was fitting that Nelson coached the Mavericks and later pulled off one of the greatest playoff upsets. I was sitting right there of all time against Dallas as Golden State's head coach in 2007. So this is what Dirk Nowitzki said. Nelly, you drafted me. You believed in me. You saw things in my game before I ever realized I could do them. I've said it a million times, and I will say it again. I don't think my career could have turned out the way that it did without you being my first coach and giving me the freedom to play my game. I can only say thank you for everything. Rest in peace, legend. From one legend to another, Steph Curry, he posted this. He said, one of the biggest reasons I was drafted by the Warriors was because of Don Nelson. Think about that. The story is that he never liked rookies, but from day one, he challenged me and he gave me an opportunity to be my best self on the court, and he taught me a lot during our one season together, and I'm never going to forget the night that he became the winningest NBA coach in Minnesota. We were so happy for him. He had an immeasurable impact on the sport, and he will go down as one of the greatest minds in the history of the game. He is a true icon and will be missed by the countless number of people that he touched, including myself, during a legendary career. Sending my love to Joy, his family, and all of those who were fortunate enough to know him. And there have been so many tributes, but we wanted to show you one more. This is from Steve Kerr. He said, quote, Don Nelson was a true innovator whose influence on the game of basketball is still felt today. And he challenged conventional thinking. He experimented with different lineups and styles of play, and he saw possibilities in the game that others often did not. And so much of what is now commonplace in the modern NBA, it can be traced back to the way that Nelly approached the game. His impact on the Warriors is just as significant. He helped shape some of the most memorable teams in franchise history and built a lasting connection with generations of Warriors fans. His legacy will always remain an important part of this organization. My thoughts are with the entire Nelson family. And again, there were so many tributes that we could continue to show you because that's how far-reaching his impact was. Mr. Spears, you covered him for many years. How would you describe the impact that he had on the game?
Well, a lot of people forget that he was a great player with the Celtics, too. So that is something that has to be talked about. But he made his name as a coach. Every time he walked into a room, it lit up. He had just that kind of personality. And when I was in high school and college and he was coaching the Warriors, he changed the game. He did small ball. He had a 7'6" Manute Bol shooting three-pointers. He stretched the offense out. He had run TMC. He was just so creative and so unique with his offensive mind that he basically was 20, 30 years ahead of what we're doing today.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that Warriors and, of course, the We Believe Warriors. Like, when you think about the dynasty that came after him, that was built essentially making Oracle Arena Roracle. And Don Nelson did that with that series and what he did. And then, of course, drafting Steph. I mean, back when it was Steph's rookie year, coming out of Davidson, when it was just easy to kind of walk up on Steph like that, just ask him, like, hey, how are you feeling as a rookie? He was having so much fun with Don Nelson. That is how you set the standard and set really the foreground for the dynasty that will come afterwards.
I mean, I remember First of all, he coached 17 Hall of Famers, more than any other coach in NBA history. It's going to become 18 whenever Steph gets in. That speaks a lot for what he did to help those players at all their stages of their career. I think, though, me being a Cub reporter back in 2008, was one of my first years covering the NBA, Saturday day game in November, undrafted rookie Anthony Morrow, playing at then Staples Center, drops 37 points, 15 for 20 shooting. After the game, it was Morrow's first start of his career, only the 4th game he ever played in. And as Don Nelson cracked open a beer and talked to us post-game in the hallway, said, I just had a feeling. And he said, that was one of the most exciting things that happened in my 30 years of coaching. And I was like, what a cool guy. I get to cover people like this in the NBA. It was awesome.
Well, Dave, his give a S meter was really, really low.
Always
did not
was.
care. He kept it real. He liked smoking a little weed. He acknowledged that. You know, Malika knows by Lake Merritt, he had this high rise. He used to live on the top of the high rise. I think Matt Barnes and Jax tell a great story about smoking weed with Coach on the top, and he loved to go to Lake Chalet and drink a beer and everything. And my favorite quote, I asked him once, like, Coach, you're like 800 years old. Why are you still coaching, right? And he goes, cold, hard cash, baby. Talk about keeping it real.
You know what? He had an honesty that was always appreciated. And again, the vision that he had for the game, it gave way to what we all see now. So, Don Nelson, you will certainly be missed. We are thinking of all of those who knew and loved Don. NBA Today. We'll be right back.